Hello, Nick here. And I'm making a video tonight. Gonna fool around with 1, 2, 3, 4 radios. And we're mostly just gonna be fooling around with these two signals here. And the reason so if you look at the top radio, that's an Icom 7610. And I got the scope zoomed in pretty close so you can see these two signals. Now, those signals are 5 kilohertz apart. About equal strength. And, all right, so let's start over here. Now, all these radios are just on AM. All 4 radios are actually set on 4 kilohertz bandwidth. All right? 4. Same with the other 2 over there. Okay? I'm lucky to be able to do that for all these 4 radios. So let's start. So there's music on 6185. Oh, there happens to be, all right, currently there's music in the other one. If you listen closely, you can hear this station bleeding into 180, and then if I go to 185, you can hear 180 bleeding into 185. And so I'll just shut up and let you listen. Tuning off in the opposite direction of the other signal helps a little bit. That's what I call poor man's passband tuning. This radio does not have passband tuning. This radio does not have passband tuning. The other 2 radios do. So we'll see if that helps. Now, these have sync. And if you listen to internet lore, they all supposed to have great sync. This Lowe is supposed to be awesome. Yeah, well, let's see. So I don't know about you, but I can still hear some of the other station. So let's look at this one. Here's straight AM, 4 kilohertz. Watch the upper corner. Four kilohertz. AM sync locked, sync upper. Sync lower. It shouldn't be good because we're closer to the other signal. Sync upper. So in my opinion, that's working a little bit better than the Lowe. Let's come over here. Drake R8B. The speaker is the internal speaker firing up, so we are at a handicap, but there's a good 1.25 inch gap in there. Right now we're on sync. Let's turn sync off. All right, AM 4 kilohertz. Sync locked. Sync upper locked. Back quickly to the low. Sync. The low won't allow me to switch between upper and lower. The low sync is also touchy. The L locks, it goes out. This is a relatively strong signal. So this low sync, either my radio's not a good radio or the low isn't as great as people say it is. All right. Come on over here now. All right, Icom 7610. Straight AM, 4 kilohertz. The filters on the Icom are better than the filters on any of these other 3 radios. They have more, I don't know if brick wall is the right word, but they are tight. In other words, they don't let as much shit in on either end of when you get past the edges of the filter. So the Icom has twin passband tuning. Watch this passband up here. I'm going to shift the passband away to the right, away from the other signal. It's great. This does not have sync. No passband. Sync upper. Sync. Sync upper. All right, so in my opinion, which I think we just all saw right here, the sync on the 2 Drakes is better than the sync on the Lowe receiver. Again, it's a sample of 1 Lowe receiver, but everything else on this receiver works perfectly. And notice that the L lock button went out again. There it is. You got to fight with this thing to keep it locked, even on a darn strong signal. So anyway. All right. So in my opinion, the sync on the Drake, this Drake and the other Drake, is better than the sync on the Lowe. Again, a sample of 1. And let's just quickly look at the filters. Now, since all 4 radios are on 4 kilohertz bandwidth, let's see, let's run a little experiment. So we'll just put on straight AM. We'll put it on something 6160, I think. All right, so 6160 is this signal. Nothing significant either side of it. All right, let's go to this radio first. Let's use this one. All right. 4 kilohertz bandwidth should be plus or minus 2 kilohertz. That means if I tune either up or down 2 kilohertz, everything should be fine, like I'm not even tuning it. If I turn it past 2 kilohertz, either way, the signal should start getting squirrely. Three kilohertz off, and you can hear it squirrely. Two kilohertz down, fine. 3 kilohertz down, squirrely. All right. 6105. Four kilohertz filter. 2 kilohertz, fine. 4 kilohertz off, it's starting to get squirrely. 3 kilohertz off, it's fine. Well, not perfect, but not bad. There's center carrier. 2 kilohertz down, fine. 3, pretty fine, no problems. Now it's starting to get squirrely. So that's my reason for saying that the filters on this are not as tight, or in my opinion, not as good as the filters on that. Let's look at the Drake. So we'll take the sync off, tune it down to 6105. All right, we're on 4 kilohertz. You can see that right there. Two kilohertz up. Wait for something to come out. 3 kilohertz up. Come on, start talking, dude. We're 5 kilohertz up, and it's squirrely. Squirrely. Kinda okay. So the filters The filters on the Lowe and the Drake are similar to each other. All right, let's just for giggles try the R8B over here. 6105. Sync off. 4 kilohertz straight AM. Ooh, squirrely. Squirrely. All right, the filters on this R8B are tighter, or I don't know if that's the right word. They have better characteristics, in my opinion, than either of these. Now, this radio also costs a lot more when it was new than either of these. And today, it's worth a lot more, too. So, yes, I'm very, this is the first time I've done this test on this R8B. Very impressed. Nice. Let's go back to the Icom. Center carrier. 2 kilohertz down, fine. Squirrely. I think that's the same, that's part of that signal. I don't think that's a separate signal. Because if it was a separate signal, I'd be able to hear some of it over here. 2 kilohertz on the other side. Anyway. Badass filters on the Icom. Almost as badass. Not really badass. Better than probably, a bunch of other radios, but I'm not overly impressed by the filter characteristics that we just saw there. Plus, I'm not overly impressed so far with the sync on this radio. You can't sync it, either sync up or sync lower. That's not necessarily a bad thing as long as the sync actually works. Plus the fact that you got to fight with it to get it to lock. The sync on the 2 Drakes is better, in my opinion. So that's it. I just wanted to, so actually this is the first time doing the test with all 4 radios. I didn't even know what the final results would be. So I kind of thought that all 1, 2, and 3 would have been identical. I already knew how this one was. This is a great, great radio, all right? I didn't know that this one would act significantly better than either of these. It does. Plus, this has passband tuning. Well, let's go back and see if those 2 other signals are still there quickly and just try the passband on the Drake. $61.80. If you listen close, I can hear. Here's the passband. It's not twin, it's only got 1, so it's like an IF shift. I'm going to turn it positive because I want to go away from the other signal. That's all the way. Too much. That's about halfway. There's center. Can you see the line on that knob? Center, you see the white line? So it works. It doesn't work nearly as well as this one. Then again, that one's, if it makes a difference, it's got twin passband tuning. I always thought that was just a marketing thing, but it works pretty darn good. But this one at least has it, and it does work. All right, it did get better. It didn't totally eliminate the other signal like this one can. So yeah, so the filters on this are better than these two. The filters on this are not as good as this one, in my opinion. And the sync on the Drakes is very similar between the two radios, and both of them are better than the Lowe. And the Icom doesn't have sync, but it almost doesn't need it. Then again, who knows? Is sync even designed to help you with selectivity, or is it only designed for stations that are very weak and fading? I don't know. I always thought that if you locked on a signal, you locked on a signal, right? And it would help. But even if we ignore the selectivity part of it, because I'm an idiot, all right? What was that other signal? Yeah, this is it, 6105. Well, that's too strong. Let's find something weak over here that doesn't have anything close by. 6090. Let's see if we can even get this thing to lock on that. 4 kilohertz. Shit, let's open it up. 7. Now, that's what Lowe says you're supposed to get that funky tone. Then you tickle this knob till the tone goes away and you get the lock light. You're kind of zero beating it. Doesn't sound any different. The volume went up slightly on this one when the sync locked. I always thought that was an indication that the sync was working. But anyway, so even if the sync is not supposed to help selectivity, I mean, maybe it's not. The filters on these two radios were a little bit loose. I mean, you saw that, 2 shortwave signals. Neither of them were super weak, and neither of them were super strong. Both pretty similar, 5 kilohertz apart, and both radios had a hard time dealing with it. These two handle those two signals much better, closer together. So that's kind of the experiment that I wanted to do tonight to see. I guess, should I fire every single radio up and test it on 6.185? You know, it's like, oh my gosh, got a lot of shit going on here. But who knows? Maybe I'll get bored and do it. But anyway, all right. Thanks for let me know if you think if that was even significant, or do you think I got to the right results? Am I crazy? You know, whatever. All right. See you.